Michael's fist connects with my jaw before I can finish saying, "It's not what you and I stagger backward, tasting copper." My back hitting the brick wall of Kate's apartment building. Her ex-husband shakes out his knuckles, his face twisted with rage, and I realize this is really happening. I'm getting beaten up in the parking lot of my own building at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. "You think you can just walk into my family?" Michael hisses, stepping closer. He's bigger than me, mid-40s. Works out. Has that executive confidence that comes from years of intimidating people in boardrooms. "You think you can play house with my wife and my daughter?" "Ex-wife," I manage to say, which is apparently the wrong thing because he grabs my collar and slams me against the wall again. "She's 43 years old," he says, his breath hot on my face. "You're what, 25? 26? 28? I say stupidly, and he laughs this cold, bitter sound that makes my skin crawl. "Oh, 28. My mistake. That makes it so much better." He releases me, and I slide down the wall. Stay away from Kate. Stay away from Emma. Or next time, I won't stop at one punch. He walks away, his expensive shoes clicking on the pavement, and I sit there in the parking lot, bleeding and humiliated, wondering how the hell I got here. 4 months earlier, I was dragging myself up the stairs elevator broken again, naturally when I heard someone crying. It was 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I just finished a brutal 12-hour shift debugging code. My shoulders ached, my eyes burned. All I wanted was to collapse on my couch with leftover pizza and something mindless on Netflix. But the crying stopped me cold. It was coming from 7B, one floor below mine, Kate Moretti's apartment. I'd seen Kate around the building for the past year. She was hard to miss, tall, dark hair usually pulled back in a messy bun, these sharp hazel eyes that seemed to see right through you. She had a teenage daughter who visited on weekends, and an ex-husband who sometimes picked the girl up in a black BMW. Kate and I had exchanged the usual neighbor pleasantries. "Nice weather. Elevator's broken again, huh?" But we'd never had a real conversation. She seemed to exist in this separate world from mine, older, more put together, the kind of woman who had her life figured out, except now she was crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just this quiet, devastated sobbing that made my chest ache. I stood on the landing, groceries cutting into my palms, and debated. Mind my own business? Keep walking? Then I heard her voice, muffled through the door. "I can't do this anymore. I can't." I knocked before I could talk myself out of it. The crying stopped immediately. I heard footsteps, then the sound of someone taking a shaky breath. The door opened a crack, and Kate looked out at me. Her face was blotchy and streaked with tears. She was wearing an old Northwestern sweatshirt, faded purple. The logo cracked and peeling, and gray sweatpants. No makeup. Hair loose around her shoulders. She looked younger than I'd ever seen her, and completely wrecked. "Hi," I said, because my brain had apparently short-circuited. She blinked at me, confused. "Tyler?" She knew my name. I hadn't known she knew my name. "Yeah. I, uh, I heard." I gestured vaguely. "Are you okay?" She let out a laugh, sharp and bitter, like broken glass. "No. But thank you for asking. I should have left it there." Instead, I heard myself ask, "Is there anything I can do?" Kate studied me for a long moment, her hand still gripping the edge of the door. Then she stepped back and opened it wider. "Do you want to come in?" she asked quietly. Her apartment was smaller than mine but felt warmer, lived in. There were plants everywhere, succulents lined up on the windowsill, a tall, fiddle-leaf fig in the corner, herbs growing in mason jars on the kitchen counter. The walls were covered with framed art prints and photographs. The balcony door was open, letting in the cool September air and the distant sounds of the city. Kate poured us both a glass of red wine without asking if I wanted one. She handed it to me and sat down on the couch, pulling her legs up underneath her. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm a complete mess right now." "You're not a mess. I'm 43 years old, Tyler. I'm crying on a Tuesday night, drinking wine alone, and my daughter just told me she doesn't want to live with me anymore." She took a long drink, her hand trembling slightly. "That's pretty much the definition of a mess." I sat down in the armchair across from her. "Emma said that?" "Yeah." Kate's voice cracked. "Her father's been in her ear for months now, telling her I'm selfish, that I'm having some kind of midlife crisis, that I'm not stable enough to take care of her. What do you think?" I asked. She looked at me, startled. What? I'm asking what you think. Not what Michael thinks. Not what Emma thinks. What do you think? She was quiet for a long moment, staring down at her wine. I think I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling like I have to justify every decision I make. I'm tired of being the bad guy because I left a marriage that was killing me. You're not the bad guy, I said. You're her mom. Kate's eyes filled with tears again. That doesn't seem to count for much these days. We sat in silence for a while. Outside, the city hummed with life. Taxis honking, music drifting up from a bar down the street. The wine was dry and a little bitter, and I could smell Kate's perfume, something floral and faint, like jasmine. She told me everything how Michael had been controlling during their marriage, always needing to know where she was, what she was doing, how leaving him had felt like jumping off a cliff, how she was terrified of losing Emma. She told me about her job at the Art Institute, curating contemporary photography exhibitions, how it used to feel like magic and now just felt like going through the motions. I listened. I asked questions. I didn't try to fix anything because I could tell she just wanted someone to witness her pain. At some point, I realized it was past 1 a.m. The wine bottle was empty. I should go, I said, standing up. Thank you, Kate said softly, for listening, for not judging. She walked me to the door. As I stepped into the hallway, she touched my arm lightly. Tyler, if you ever need to talk about anything, my door's open too. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak, because somewhere between the crying and the wine and the late-night confessions, something had shifted. It started innocently enough. 3 days later, Kate knocked on my door at 8 p.m. I'm so sorry to bother you, she said, but do you have any sugar? I'm trying to bake cookies for Emma this weekend. I didn't have sugar. I'm 28 and live alone. My pantry consists of cereal, peanut butter, and approximately 40 packets of ramen. Give me 10 minutes, I said. I walked to the corner store, bought sugar, and brought it back. When I knocked on her door again, she looked surprised. You didn't have to go buy it, she said. It's fine. It's just sugar. She smiled this real, warm smile that made something in my chest tighten. Come in, please. I at least owe you a coffee. Her kitchen smelled like butter and vanilla. She'd already started the cookie dough, and there was flour on her cheek that she hadn't noticed yet. Emma's coming this weekend, she said. I'm trying to show her I'm still her mom. With cookies? With cookies. It's pathetic, right? It's not pathetic. It's sweet. She glanced at me, and something flickered in her expression. You're easy to talk to, Tyler. Has anyone ever told you that? Not really, no. My ex-girlfriend said I was emotionally unavailable. Kate laughed. Were you? Probably. I'm better with code than people. I don't think that's true. She turned to face me fully, leaning against the counter. Because you're here, listening to a woman you barely know talk about her failing relationship with her teenage daughter. The air between us felt suddenly charged. I was acutely aware of how close she was standing, the way a strand of hair had fallen across her forehead. Kate, I started, but my phone buzzed in my pocket, shattering the moment. A work email. I should probably get back to work, I said reluctantly. Right. Of course. She turned back to her mixing bowl. Thanks for the sugar. I ran into Kate at the supermarket 2 weeks later. She was standing in the pasta aisle, staring at marinara sauces like they'd personally wronged her. She was wearing jeans and a cream-colored sweater, her hair down and curling at the ends. Can't decide? I asked. She jumped, then laughed when she saw me. Tyler. Hi. I'm trying to remember which sauce Emma likes. You could text her and ask? Kate's smile faded slightly. She's not really texting me back these days. I picked up a jar of classic marinara. Start with this one. It's basic. Hard to hate. Good strategy. She dropped it into her basket. Thanks. We walked through the store together. She told me about a new exhibition she was curating contemporary women photographers. I told her about the budgeting app I was building. That's actually brilliant, she said. I could use that. I'm terrible with money. You? You seem like you have your life completely together, she laughed. Tyler, I'm held together with duct tape and denial. Trust me. At the checkout, the cashier, a college-aged kid with a nose ring, looked between us and smiled. You two make a cute couple, he said casually. Kate went bright red. Oh, We're just neighbors, I said quickly. We're neighbors. Outside in the parking lot, Kate covered her face with her hands. Oh my God. It's fine. It's not fine. He thought you were my son, Tyler. He definitely did not think that. I stopped walking and turned to face her. Kate, he didn't think you were my mom. He thought we were a couple, which means he thinks you're attractive enough to date someone my age. Which you are. She lowered her hand slowly, looking at me with wide eyes. You think I'm attractive? The question hung in the air between us. Yeah, I do. For a second, just a second, I thought about kissing her right there in the parking lot. But then her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and her expression changed. It's Emma, she said. I should take this. Go. I'll see you around. I watched her go, my heart beating too fast, wondering what the hell I was doing. 2 weeks later, I got the flu. The real deal fever, chills, body aches, the whole miserable package. On day 3, someone knocked on my door. I dragged myself off the couch and opened it to find Kate standing there holding a container of soup. I haven't seen you in a few days, she said. And I heard you coughing through the ceiling. So I made soup. I stared at her. You made me soup? Chicken noodle? Nothing fancy, but it'll help. She pushed past me, took one look at the state of things, tissues everywhere, empty Gatorade bottles, and shook her head. Tyler, this is terrible. I'm fine, I croaked. You sound like you're dying. She started cleaning. Before I could protest, she'd thrown away all the tissues, straightened the couch cushions, and opened a window. You don't have to do this, I said weakly. I know. Sit down. She heated up the soup and brought me a bowl, then sat beside me on the couch. Thank you, I said. It's just soup. It's not just soup. She looked at me, then really looked at me, and something in her expression softened. You took care of me when I was falling apart. This is the least I can do. I ate the soup. At some point, exhausted from the fever, I fell asleep mid-sentence. When I woke up 2 hours later, Kate was still there. She'd covered me with another blanket and was sitting in my armchair, reading one of my books. You stayed, I said, my voice rough. She looked up. You were really out. I wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm okay. Good. She stood up. I should go. Emma's calling tonight. Kate. She paused at the door. Thank you, I said. Really? She smiled. Feel better, Tyler. After she left, I lay there on the couch, wrapped in blankets that smelled faintly of her perfume, and realized I was in serious trouble. 3 days after I recovered, Kate texted me. Coffee? My treat. Saturday 10 a.m.? There's a place in Wicker Park I like. I texted back, see you there. The coffee shop was called Brewpoint Exposed Brick, Mismatched Furniture, Chalkboard Menu. I got you an Americano, she said. That's what you ordered last time, right? You remembered. We talked for over an hour. She told me about the new exhibition, how one of the artists had pulled out last minute. I told her about finally launching my app. That's amazing, Kate said. You should be proud. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her expression flickered. Emma? I asked. Michael. She put the phone face down. He wants to switch weekends again. 4th time this month. Can he do that? Legally? No. But Emma wants to stay with him? So, she shrugged. I'm not going to force her. Kate, you're not losing her. How do you know? Because she's 17. 17-year-olds are supposed to be difficult. It doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Kate looked at me for a long moment, her eyes shining. You're very wise for 28. I'm really not. She laughed, a real, genuine laugh that made her whole face light up. We should do this again, Kate said as we stood to leave. Yeah, we should. Outside, the October air was crisp and sharp. Kate pulled her jacket tighter and turned to me, hesitating. Then she stepped forward and kissed me on the cheek. It was quick, barely a second, but I felt it everywhere. Her lips were soft and warm, and she smelled like cinnamon. See you around, neighbor, she said, and walked away before I could respond. I stood there on the sidewalk, frozen, watching her disappear into the crowd, thinking, I am so completely screwed. It rained the night Kate's sink broke. I was at my desk when my phone rang. Kate, I'm so sorry to call this late, But my kitchen sink is leaking and I can't figure out how to turn the water off. I'll be right down. I grabbed my toolkit and headed downstairs. When Kate opened the door, she looked frazzled, water dripping from her hands. The kitchen floor was covered in water. Kate was on her hands and knees with a towel. I crawled under the sink and found the shut-off valve. It was rusted, but I managed to close it. The leak stopped. "Oh, thank God," Kate breathed. "You're a lifesaver." We mopped up the water together. When we finished, Kate opened a bottle of red wine and we collapsed onto her couch, both damp and exhausted. "I swear my life is falling apart," Kate said. "The sink, the exhibition, Emma, Michael, everything. Welcome to being human. Is your life falling apart too?" "Constantly," I admitted. "I just hide it better." She turned to look at me, propping her head on her hand. "That sounds lonely." "It is." The honesty surprised both of us. Kate set her wine down and shifted closer, and suddenly the air between us felt charged again. "Tyler," she said softly. "Yeah? I think I'm about to do something really stupid." "Like what?" She leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't careful or tentative. It was desperate and hungry, like she'd been holding back for weeks and finally couldn't anymore. I kissed her back, my hand tangling in her hair, and she made this small sound that sent electricity down my spine. We broke apart, both breathing hard. That was... I started. "Stupid," Kate finished. "Really, really stupid." I was going to say incredible. She laughed, but it came out shaky. "Tyler, I'm 43. You're 28. I have a teenage daughter who already hates me. This is a terrible idea." "I don't care. You should care." "But I don't." I cupped her face in my hands. "Kate, I don't care about the age difference. I don't care what people think. I care about you." Her eyes filled with tears. "We can't tell anyone. Not yet. If Emma finds out, if Michael finds out, then we don't tell them. Not until you're ready. This is crazy." "Probably." She kissed me again, harder this time. And I decided that whatever happened next, this moment was worth it. We tried to keep it quiet. No labels, no announcements. Just us. In the stolen hours between her life and mine, late nights in her apartment when Emma was at Michael's, early mornings in mine before work, it was intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure. Kate was different than anyone I'd ever been with. She was confident and self-assured in ways that made my stomach flip. She knew who she was, what she wanted, how to ask for it, but she was also scared. Scared of Emma finding out. Scared of Michael using this against her. Scared that I would wake up one day and realize I wanted someone younger. "Do you want kids?" she asked me one night. We were lying in her bed, and the question came out of nowhere. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Maybe. I haven't really thought about it. I can't have any more." Her voice was quiet. "I had complications after Emma. The doctors said another pregnancy would be dangerous." I propped myself up to look at her. "Kate, if having kids is something you want, you should know that's not an option with me, and I don't want you to wake up in 5 years and resent me for it. I'm not thinking about kids right now, but you will be, and when you do, I'll be almost 50. I didn't know what to say to that, because she was right. "Let's just focus on now," I said finally. She nodded, but I could see the fear in her eyes. The cracks really started to show when I invited Kate to my friend Brad's birthday party. Brad was turning 29 and throwing a massive bash at his apartment, cheap beer, loud music, at least 30 people crammed into a 2-bedroom. "You don't have to come," I told Kate. "I know it's not really your scene. I want to meet your friends," she insisted. She showed up looking beautiful, dark jeans, black top, leather jacket, and immediately I could tell she was uncomfortable. Everyone at the party was in their 20s. The music was too loud. People were playing beer pong. Brad spotted us and came over, already drunk. "Tyler! My man!" He looked at Kate with confusion. "Who's your friend?" "This is Kate," I said carefully. "Kate, this is Brad. Nice to meet you," Kate said, extending her hand. "So, how do you two know each other?" "We're neighbors," I said quickly. A girl named Melissa bounced over. "Oh my God, I love your jacket," she said to Kate. "Where'd you get it?" "Thanks, it's vintage. I've had it for about 15 years. Melissa's eyes widened. 15 years? Wow. That's like before I was in high school. The math hung in the air. awkward, and impossible to ignore. The girls drifted away, and Kate turned to me. Tyler, I need to go. What? Why? Because I'm 43 years old at a party full of people who think The Office is a retro show. I don't belong here. You belong here because I want you here. That's sweet. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm old enough to be most of these people's mother. She left before I could stop her. I found her outside, standing on the sidewalk with her arms wrapped around herself. Kate, I'm not mad at you, she said. This is hard, Tyler. Being with you is hard. Every time we're in public together, I'm hyper aware of how much older I am. I see people doing the math. I don't care what people think. But I do. Her voice cracked. I care, Tyler, because I've spent the last 5 years rebuilding my life, and the last thing I need is people thinking I'm pathetic. You're not pathetic. Then what am I? What are we? I didn't have an answer. She kissed me on the cheek, soft and sad, and walked away. Emma found out on a Saturday in December. It was 9 a.m. Emma was supposed to be at Michael's until Sunday, but she'd had a fight with her dad and come home early. I was in Kate's kitchen making coffee, wearing nothing but boxers and an old t-shirt. Kate was still asleep. The door opened. Emma walked in, saw me, and froze. What the hell? I nearly dropped the coffee mug. Emma, hi, what are you doing here? Her voice was shaking. Why are you in my mom's kitchen? Kate appeared in the doorway, pulling on a robe. Emma, honey, let me explain. Explain what? Emma's voice rose. That you're sleeping with the guy from upstairs? Emma, how old are you? Emma turned to me. How old are you? 28, I said quietly. 28. Oh my God. She looked at Kate, disgust written all over her face. This is disgusting, Mom. This is so messed up. Emma, please, what's wrong with you? You left Dad? You ruined our family? And now you're shacking up with some guy who's young enough to be your son? He's not. Kate's voice broke. Emma, I love him. The words hung in the air. Emma stared at her mother, tears streaming down her face, and then she laughed this horrible, bitter sound. You love him? You don't even know what love is. All you know how to do is destroy things. She grabbed her backpack and headed for the door. Emma. Wait. Kate followed her. Don't, Emma said, her voice cold. Don't follow me. Don't call me. I'm going to Dad's, and I'm staying there. The door slammed. Kate stood there, staring at it, her whole body shaking. Then she turned to me, and the look on her face shattered something inside me. You should go, she whispered. Kate, please, just go. I got dressed and left. As I climbed the stairs, I heard her crying those same devastating sobs from 4 months ago. Only this time, I was the reason. 2 days later, Michael called Kate at 11 p.m. She came upstairs after the call, looking like a ghost. He said Emma's not eating, Kate said. She's barely sleeping. Her grades are dropping. We were sitting in my apartment. He said it's my fault. That she's having a breakdown because of me. Because of us. Kate, that's not. He's going to petition for full custody. Her voice broke. He says I'm an unfit mother. That I'm prioritizing a relationship over my daughter. He can't do that. He can try. And if Emma testifies that she wants to live with him. Kate buried her face in her hands. Tyler, I can't lose her. Then, what do you want to do? She looked at me, tears streaming down her face. I think we need to stop this. I think we need to end this. The words hit me like a punch. Kate, I'm sorry, but Emma is my daughter. And if being with you means losing her, then I can't. I just can't. She stood up and walked to the door. I wanted to stop her, to fight for us, but I didn't. Because deep down, I knew she was right. The next 3 weeks were hell. I barely slept, barely ate. Work became impossible. I'd stare at my screen for hours, thinking about Kate. I met Brad at a bar in Bucktown. Told him everything. So let me get this straight, Brad said. You fell in love with a woman 15 years older than you, pissed off her ex-husband, traumatized her teenage daughter, and got punched in a parking lot. That about sums it up. Jesus, Tyler, what are you going to do? I don't know. Brad was quiet for a long time. Do you love her? Like, really love her? Yes. Then fight for her, man. Don't sit here feeling sorry for yourself. The next morning, I did something crazy. I called Emma. She didn't answer, so I left a voicemail. Hi, Emma. It's Tyler. I know you don't want to talk to me, and I don't blame you. But I need you to know something. I love your mom. I know that's hard to hear. I know the age gap is weird. But I love her. And I'm not trying to replace your dad or insert myself into your family. I'm just a guy who fell in love with an incredible woman who happens to be your mother. And I think she needs you right now. So if you could find it in yourself to talk to her, I think it would mean everything. 2 hours later, my phone rang. Emma, don't hang up, she said. I won't. I was horrible to you and to my mom. I talked to my therapist. She said I was projecting, that I was angry at my mom for leaving my dad, and I was taking it out on both of you. My throat tightened. Emma, do you really love her? Yeah, I do. Then don't give up. Please, because she's been miserable, and I can't stand watching her like this. What about Michael? Let him try, Emma said fiercely. I'm 17. I get to decide where I want to live, and I want to live with my mom, but she needs to know I'm okay with you. So I'm telling you, I'm okay with it. I'm not thrilled, and it's going to be weird, but I'm okay. After I hung up, I sat there for a long time, staring at my phone. Then I stood up, walked downstairs, and knocked on Kate's door. Kate opened the door at 3 a.m., looking exhausted and confused. Tyler? Her voice was hoarse. What are you? I love you, I said. I know it's complicated. I know Emma's struggling and Michael hates me and people are going to judge us. I know I'm 28 and you're 43 and that's a big gap. I know you can't have more kids and I might want them someday. I know all of it. And I don't care. Because I love you, Kate. And I'm not walking away. She stared at me, her eyes filling with tears. Tyler, I talked to Emma. She called me today. She said she's okay with us. Not thrilled, but okay. And she wants you to be happy. Kate's hand flew to her mouth. She said that? Yeah. So if the only reason you're staying away is because you're afraid of losing her, you don't have to be anymore. She stepped forward and kissed me hard and desperate and full of all the things we hadn't said over the last 3 weeks. I love you too, she whispered against my lips. God help me. I love you too. We stood there in her doorway, holding each other, and I realized that this messy, complicated, imperfect thing was exactly what I'd been looking for my whole life. 6 months later, Emma still doesn't really talk to me. Well, that's not entirely true. She'll say hi when we pass in the hallway. She'll answer direct questions, but she's not warm. She's not welcoming. And she's made it clear that while she's tolerating my relationship with her mother, she's not happy about it. Kate says it's progress. That 6 months ago, Emma wouldn't even look at me. I hope she's right. Michael took Kate to court 3 months ago, petitioning for full custody. The judge threw it out after Emma testified that she wanted to live with her mother. Michael glared at me the entire hearing, and I'm pretty sure he's planning his revenge. Kate's colleagues at the Art Institute know about us now. Some of them are supportive. Others whisper when we walk by. One of her coworkers asked, in front of everyone, if I was her pool boy. Kate laughed it off, but I saw how much it hurt her. My friends are mostly cool with it, though Brad still makes jokes about me robbing the cradle in reverse. We still don't go out in public much. Kate says it's not because she's embarrassed, but because she's tired of the stares and the comments and the judgment. I tell myself I'm okay with that. Most days, I believe it, but we're still together. Still figuring it out. Still navigating the weird, messy middle ground between love and reality. Kate worries about me waking up one day and realizing I want kids. I worry about her ex-husband finding new ways to make our lives miserable. Emma worries about everything, but especially about being caught in the middle. And yet, every morning, I wake up next to Kate, and she's real. She's here. We're building something, even if we don't know exactly what it is yet. Last week, Emma came to dinner at Kate's apartment. I cooked pasta, nothing fancy, just the marinara sauce from the supermarket that started this whole thing. Emma ate in silence, answering Kate's questions in monosyllables. But as she was leaving, she stopped in front of me. Thanks for dinner, she said quietly. It was good. It wasn't much, but it was something. We're going to be okay, Kate told me that night, lying in bed with her head on my chest. It's going to take time, but we're going to be okay. How do you know? Because we chose this. Even knowing how hard it would be, we chose each other. That has to count for something. I kissed the top of her head. It counts for everything. I found my neighbor crying on her balcony 4 months ago, and she invited me inside to talk. I didn't know then that talking would turn into coffee, and coffee would turn into confessions, and confessions would turn into love. I didn't know that loving her would cost me friendships, comfort, and a hell of a lot of pride. I didn't know that at 28, I'd fall for a 43-year-old woman with a teenage daughter and an ex-husband who hates me. But I did. And I'd do it again. Because love doesn't wait for the right time or the right circumstances. It doesn't care about your age or your plans or your carefully constructed life. It just shows up messy and inconvenient and undeniable. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is open the door and let it in. Love doesn't care about your plans, your timeline, or what makes sense on paper. It just asks one question. Are you brave enough to stay?